Namaskar to viewers of Namu Madhuram and all music lovers. Today is Sangeeth Samrat, Bade Ramdas, Smriti Divas. In this day, on 11th January 1960, he started his eternal journey and uh, being from one of the vocalists from that Gharana, I would like to pay a small tribute to the foremost composer of this gharana, Sangeeth Samrat Bade Ramdas Mishra ji of Banaras. Sangeeth Samrat Bade Ramdas Mishra ji of Banaras is the person who is instrumental in defining the Kayal Gayaki style and in making in bringing out the present day Khayal Gaiki style that is special to Banaras. Other than Khayal Gaiki, he was also an expert in singing Drupad, Damar, Kerava, Tumri, Dadra, Tappa, Thati, Kajli. So he was a musician who had the capacity to sing. They used to say in Banaras like Charon Patki Gaiki. So he was an expert in music that time and he was instrumental. In his later days, he has trained many musicians and he was instrumental in designing, that is the fingering and the style of many instrumental gharanas as well. One of them that needs a special mention is Pandit Shivkumar Sharma, who late Pandit Shivkumar Sharma, like he's a sarod player, and his father was also a sarod player. His father learned from Pandit Bade Ramdas Mishra, and he was mentioning that this particular style and the evolution of this style happened under the tutelage of Bade Ramdas Mishra ji. To talk about the early life of Pandit Bade Ramdas Mishra ji, um, it was like in 1877, 23rd Jan 1877, early morning at his Kabir Chaura house. He was born to Sri Shivnandan Mishra ji and his mother's was Sri Bhagavanti Devi. He was born by the blessing of Swami Bhaskarananda. His parents were not having kids for a long time, and Swami Bhaskarananda blessed his father and told he will be having several kids, and the first one will be an acclaimed musician, great musician, in fact. So, Pandit Shivnandan Mishra himself, he was good in music. He also trained his son in music, but he wanted to give some special training. So, around 12 years, he took Bade Ramdas Mishra ji to one famous Thappa style gaiki singer of those times. And that singer was famous in Khayal and Thappa from Chetganj. He was Sri Parsadhu ji's son, Shiv Sahai ji. So Shiv Sahai ji, for some time he observed Bade Ramdas ji and he told Shivnanda ji, please leave this guy as it is. He is got a very unique perception towards music and it is better not to mold him under any special gharana style uh, or any particular style of a lineage. He is going to explore and find a new pattern of music as and when time starts unfolding. His talent will let him explore and find something new in music. So please don't mold him too much. That's what he said. So Shivnandan ji also, he took his word and did not chase any further any musician. And then around 18 to 20 years, when Bade Ramdas ji was 18 to 20 years, he underwent the Janevu ceremony, that is Yagnihopavitam ceremony, and he was married to Sri Dhanya Kumari, who was the daughter of famous Drupad singer of Bhetia, that is Jai Karan Mishra ji. After that, Bade Ramdas ji started learning Khal Gaiki under Jaikaran Mishra ji. Till he was 30 years old, Bade Ramdas ji was focusing on learning more and more. Also, he was very good in playing harmonium, banjo, and also sarod. Still, his focus was on vocal singing only. He also had the capacity to write poems. His musically composed compositions in Raga Ragini had his mudra. Ramadas, Ramadas ke Mohan Pyare, Ramadas ke Govinda Swami. All those mudras he used in his compositions. Some of his compositions were so unique. Some of them had did not have mudras also, but the uniqueness was the words were so simple and captivating that even a layman listener could enjoy that music. But the musical content in it was so superior, and uh, it was mind blowing. The musical content uh, and the sancharas used and the graha, that is we call it edupu in South classical music. That is the part of the thalam in which the song is started, and the Pallavi, after that the Sthai and the Antara used to start in a different place, and using the words it used to come back and fall in the right place in the Sthai, and this was a unique way of composing, and that was very challenging for even some big tablists to follow him on the stage, so they used to also come and take training under him so that they don't get puzzled in the stage. So there were lot of students, a big list of students under him. When he was young, his voice was of very high pitch, and it was resounding, and it had the capability to reach audience in long distance also. In those days, there was no mic. So in small when he was a small boy only, he was being called like a nickname as Jingru. Later on, this resounding voice was a big challenge for his competitors. He composed like musician compositions in all styles like Drupad, Damar, Khayal, Tappa, Tumri, Dadra, Kehrava, Hori, Chaiti, Kajli. He grew very famous since he could cover all the types of compositions. In those days, there were musicians who used to restrict themselves to only one set of compositions, and he grew as he grew very famous. When he was around 32 years, he received an invite from King of Nepal. He went to serve the King of Nepal, and he was there with the king, and he entertained that audience, and he received lot of um, he received wealth as well as fame, and then he moved to another place, a Kul Bilaspur in Punjab. For 5 years, he was there. It was a small kingdom. And then coming back to Kashi, he stayed in Kashi and went to Nepal once more. And then once more, while coming back from Nepal, he also visited many kingdoms, small kingdoms like Rampur, Gwalior, Kashmir, Darbhanga, and earned a lot of fame and wealth. At a point when he was like growing old, he settled in Kashi, and he started focusing on his students. That time he was there were very few performers. They are good in teaching also. um, in those days, like what I've seen is a lot of performers, they have earned a lot of name and fame, but when it comes to teaching, they've not been able to give one successful student also. But he was not like that. He had a band of sishyas, and he actually, what I heard from some of his students and from my guruji also, at a point when these gramophone records were being made, they pursued him, but he denied, saying, my identification, my voice is my students. If I recorded my voice in this gramophone, then who will listen to their concert? So that was the kind of dedication and sincerity that musician had. So he saw that as a negative aspect then, but okay, that was that kind of thinking that time. He was a very staunch Hindu, and he did not want to travel abroad despite getting many opportunities. His foremost sishyas were from one from Ramnagar, Ram Sevak Mishra, and another from Nepal, Sukhdev Mishra Nepali. And he also had students from other caste and creed. He never saw caste and creed as a bar for learning music, and he took everyone as student whoever was capable of learning and dedicating their life to music. He was very happy to teach them. He was a very devoted person that you could, while hearing his khayal, you can see that he is a very, very devoted person, and he believes in the God being in all the forms, omnipresence, and the kind of conversation he does with God in his khayal, even it is only 4 lines, it really touches your heart when you sing that music. So, uh, in those days, Sangeeth Samrat, Bade Ramdas Mishra, in one of the big musical congregations, he met Pandit Vishnu Digambar Paluskar. And Paluskar ji was a big fan of his music. He invited him to Bombay. He went to Bombay, sang there also, Mumbai, present day Mumbai. And he hailed Ramdas ji Mishra. Pandit Vishnu Digambar Paluskar hailed Ramdas ji Mishra as the topmost musician among the Indian musicians at that time. In 1926 January, he was adorned with the title Sangeetopadhyaya in presence of Raja Sarmoti Chand by Sanatan Vidyapit of Kashi. He also earned Sangeet Bhushan, Sangeet Kalanidhi Awards. In the year 1960, on January 9th, Saturday, his health started fading and he became little serious. On Sunday, 10th Jan, all his relatives were informed and all of them gathered around him. All his students gathered around him. When they were all singing his music only, on 11th January 1960, 6:30 p.m., he started his eternal journey to the world of brightness, to the Sushmaloka, and I'm sure there also he would be entertaining those enlightened souls, or he would be part of a sabha of those enlightened souls. His eulogy was written by one of his students and published on 23rd Jan 1960 on his birthday, coming birthday itself, by Vakil Bhairav Prasad Mishra. And these informations about his life was given to me by one of the descendants of the Gharana from this eulogy written about him. Other than this, while I was talking about him, one most important thing that was admired about him was many musicians in those times. I also used to commonly find that even our previous generation musicians, they had a very very bad habit of using chewing pan, so much of pan, and some had drinking habit, some had a pipe smoking habit. um, about Bade Ramdas Mishra, one thing that was written in this journey is this person did not have any addictions. Anybody would go and sit with him for a small conversation also. That conversation would, after sometimes, go towards the music, and he would start singing something, and it will become a big musical session. And the person who came to speak, they'll forget what they wanted to tell. So it was music, music, and music only from the age of 5 till he crossed the rainbow bridge and he merged with the divinity. It's like a life full of music and beautiful compositions that defined the full Gharana, that gave life to many musicians. His gave He gave his time and he was knowledge shared his knowledge with many students, and it is rare to find such a very simple one dish which is in a very simple language still the music is so deep in that even a layman also appreciates, and a qualified musician also finds lot of things to learn from that. So here I'm presenting a composition of his today. आजाऊं न आए श्याम पियरवा, 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 उन बिन हमारा दर बेजियरवा, 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 आजाऊं न आए श्याम पियरवा, उन हमारा दर बेजियरवा, उन बिन हमारा दर बेजियरवा, आजाऊं न आए श्याम पियरवा। आजाऊं न आए श्याम पियरवा, आजाऊं न आए श्याम आजाऊं न आए श्याम पियरवा, आजाऊं न आए श्याम पियरवा, रामदास के मोहन प्यारे, रामदास के मोहन प्यारे, रामदास के मोहन प्यारे, मोहन प्यारे रामदास के मोहन प्यारे सब जग के हरि है मनोहरवा सब जग के हरि है मनोहरवा आज गुण आयशा पियरवा आज गुण आये आज गुण आयेशम आज गुण आयेशम आज गुण आयेशम पियरवा आज गुण आयेशम आज गुण आयेशम आज गुण आयेशम पियरवा